There are two forms of a forced induction system. The two are turbochargers and superchargers. They both serve the same purpose, which is to force air into the combustion chamber. This allows for more fuel to be added into the engine without ruining the fuel-air ratio, which is vitally important. If you were to add more fuel without having a forced induction system, you would ruin the ratio and instead of producing more power, would end up making less. But with the help of a forced induction system, you are able to increase both air by means of either a supercharger or turbocharger and simply tune the fuel injectors to add more fuel into the combustion chamber. This will achieve the goal of creating more power, as we all know more fuel plus more air equals more boom equals more power. Although they serve the same purpose, turbochargers and superchargers are different in how they achieve that goal. I will explain, in simple terms, the premise that a turbocharger works. The turbocharger is attached to the exhaust system of an engine, meaning that it is attached into the system of piping and lines that are used to take burned fuel, the stuff you see coming out the rear of cars, and eject it through the exhaust. A thing to keep in mind is that these gases are not simply flowing through the piping. No, there is a decent amount of pressure. This allows for the turbocharger to piggyback off the engine, which has already put energy into compressing the gases. The exhaust gases having pressure is simply just a byproduct of the engine doing its thing, so all the turbo is a fan blade connected to another fan, which is angled in the opposite direction, with the second fan blade being outside the piping of the exhaust system. The first fan, in the exhaust system, has the exhaust gases from the engine, which are pressurized, simply blow past the fan blade before exiting the vehicle, spinning the fan blade to 80,000 to 200,000 RPM. First fan blade is mechanically connected to the second fan blade via an axle. So, the first fan is powered by the exhaust of the engine, which is mechanically connected to the second fan blade, so if the first fan blade is spinning, the second must also be spinning. The trick is, the second fan blade has the blades angled in the other direction. So instead of blowing, pushing air, it is sucking, pulling air. It takes this air and forces it into the engine. As explained in the first paragraph, this allows for more fuel to be added, increasing power output. The premise that a supercharger is completely identical in how they force air into the engine, fan blade sucking air, then forcing that air inside the combustion chamber, where boom happens. The only difference between the two being how they are provided power to spin the fan blade. Superchargers, instead of being connected to the exhaust system, are just simply, physically mechanically connected to the engine via a belt, which spins the fan blade. The two different types of forced induction, turbocharger and supercharger, have different advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of a turbocharger is that they are generally cheaper, upfront, and in the long run, easier and cheaper to install. The disadvantages are turbo lag, basically meaning, because the whole version of forced induction is powered by air, the air will naturally compress more before spooling the fan blade, adding a slight delay in the time from when you push the accelerator from the time you feel the engine start to pull. If one is improperly installed, the damage it can cause to your engine can be catastrophic. Generally are hotter than superchargers and can cause excess heat to exist in the engine bay, increasing the risk of overheating your engine. Do not serve their function well until higher PMs. The advantages of a supercharger are: there is no turbo lag, as this system is mechanically powered. The moment you press down on the accelerator, the fan blade will begin spooling up. They do not cause as much heat as a turbocharger does. Provides boost, just means more air forced into it at low RPMs and high RPMs. Can add more boost to the engine. Disadvantages are: cost more money to both purchase and install. Even when installed correctly, will always be degrading the engine, as they are adding a lot of stress to the entirety of the engine.
Guayando.